Hi. So, hello. My name is Maury Sky. And if you know me, you know me. And if you don't, that's okay. Nobody knows me. But, I am back in the UK right now. I have been for about a week. If you don't know, I'm British American. And I was visiting family in the States, and I'm now here, and I'm making these little vlogs because I don't have a particularly good outlet for my emotions, and I feel like yelling into the void of the internet works pretty well. And hey, I've connected with some people on here, or just, I don't know, I've had some really nice comments. So anyways, how am I doing? Having a time. So on this channel, I'm for the most part going to be talking about my experiences and a lot of my mental health, because it's not always great necessarily. Also just, I don't know, philosophy, my life, anything and everything I think of, but for the most part mental health, because it's not something I talk about often, and right now mine is a little iffy, if I'm being honest. I've struggled with, I don't know. Warning? I don't know. I'm gonna just talk about eating disorders, because that is what I'm struggling with right now, and I'm going to be very candid about that. So if that's not something you can handle, please don't watch. But also, it feels weird giving a trigger warning over what is my current experience, like my lived experiences. I don't know. I feel like I should shut up, but I'm not going to, because this is my video and you can't stop me. But I've struggled with eating for most of my life. Most of it eating too much. Now, gone the other way. I've had like pretty much like each of the major eating disorders. It's bad. I'm trying to catch them like Pokemon, I guess. Gotta catch them all. Where I've struggled with mostly overeating, with a binge eating disorder that got me to the point where I was very overweight. I'm still overweight, like health-wise, but I was obese for a long time, which sucked, being a teenage girl and obese. I'll admit, so the high school I went to had like an insane population of gorgeous, pretty, skinny, rich girls. And I can't even say bitches, because a lot of them were lovely. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And that does things to your mental health when you stand out in a crowd like that. And it hurts. And I just couldn't control myself. A lot of it had to do with, I had issues around hoarding food, because I grew up, fun fact about me, I have something called rumination syndrome. I've had like gastrointestinal issues a lot of my life. So rumination syndrome just means that a lot of the food that I eat just naturally comes back up, and there's certain foods that I'm allergic to that triggers it worse. So I can't eat red meats, beef, pork, lamb, that triggers it, so I can't eat those. And when I was younger, parents had no fucking clue what was up with me, because I think when I was like 6, 7, thereabouts that age, it like started settling in, and what would happen is that I would eat like 2 bites of food and then feel full. Like my brain would send me the signals that I was full, and so I'd want to leave the dining table, because I'm like, okay, I'm done. And my parents were like, no, keep eating, you're not gonna be full. And so, but I'd feel full, so I'm like, I'd insist, like, no, I'm done. So my parents would be like, okay, fine, go off and play. So then 20 minutes later, when that tiny bit of food had digested, I'd be hungry again, and I'd go and ask, and they're like, no, if you want to eat at dinner time, don't mess around like this. They didn't realize that it was a medical thing, that it wasn't just my behavior. So I had about a year, maybe a bit longer, where I just wasn't getting enough food. I was accidentally put into kind of starving mode, And it meant that I hoarded food a lot because I would get so hungry because I couldn't, like, I wasn't getting enough to eat. So I would sneak into the kitchen at night and hoard food. And as I was a kid, I'd usually go for the sweets. Because if you're gonna steal anything, go for the sweets. I have such distinct memories of, like, climbing the shelves in the cupboard to get a scoop, like just a handful of these, like, bittersweet chocolate chip just chocolate chips. Ingredient household, no cookies here, just the chocolate chips, and just eating those. God, they were so good. The Costco bittersweet chocolate chip cookie, not cookies, I keep saying cookies, just the chocolate chips, banging, and were my main sustenance for a long time. So when we finally got it under control, I'd been in the swing of, I need to eat everything that I have now because it'll be gone, or I won't get enough. I was so into that mentality that by the time we got my body to be able to catch up, habits had set in, and those then continued for years and years. And I got to a point last summer where I was very overweight. This was after my first year of university, and I was depressed, and I had pretty much both a good and shitty year, where I couldn't stand myself, and so other habits that had started to build up in high school really set in, and that led me to the other side of dealing with eating disorders, which was anorexia and bulimia. And both of them suck, especially in tangent. They sometimes like to work together. Surprise, don't know if anyone's told you that, but they like to work together. And I understand very much so that eating disorders are about control. It's not necessarily about the food, it's about control. And I didn't have control, and so this is the method I would use. And I lost a lot of weight very quickly, not in a safe way. And I can feel that I'm on the precipice of trying again. And it scares me, because I would like to lose weight healthily, because I still would like to lose weight. I want to be able to move better. I do want to be able to move better, but I can feel myself lying when I'm going to say that, because I also want this very base feeling of being treated like another person. That was the main motivation for me last summer, and my motivation this summer as well, and just in general, is that there's a very strong aspect of being overweight that you feel unhuman. You don't feel valued, you don't feel recognized. There's something missing when people interact with you, and you might not be able to pinpoint it, but it's there. And you don't feel human, and it hurts. And that's the feeling that I get the most around struggling to eat, is this feeling of, I just want to be seen as human. I just want to be valued. And unfortunately, it's being valued through my body and not my brain or personality, my characteristics, my kindness, my strength, my art, anything. Hell, I'm a creative fucking person. I love art. I love people. Like, if you can't tell, I've got, like, I love people and life. And yet, mental illness isn't just something that kind of happens to certain people. You can't look at someone who's necessarily, like, that they should be depressed. That it's like, oh, they wear all black clothes and they stay inside all day. And oh my God, they're a vampire. That makes sense that they're depressed. Or struggling with anything. Mental illness doesn't make sense. That's the thing. It's an illness. It's hard. and it sucks. It really fucking sucks. And that's to say that I am struggling. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I wish that there was an easier way to talk about it. But at the moment, I've restarted. I've done the 75 hard challenge on just the internet, where it's like you stick to a diet, take progress photos. Meant to do an indoor 45-minute workout, outdoor 45-minute workout, drink a gallon of water, and read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. So I started that. I started that the 1st of July. I'm sticking with it. And in theory, I'd like to stick with it in a healthy way. In practice, it's going differently. And it's a hard thing to balance. And the hardest part that I find about eating disorders is that whilst a lot of it is very it's like addiction behaviors, you're addicted to something. You're addicted to the feeling of losing weight, you're addicted to the feeling of control, you're addicted to food. Unfortunately, food is kind of necessary to life. Don't know if anyone's told you that. Surprise. So whilst normally an addict's method of dealing with something can be full removal of it. If you're smoking, doing drugs, drinking, going cold turkey, and just cutting it out of your life is an option. That is not an option with food. And I fear that this is something I'm gonna struggle with for the rest of my life. And that prospect scares me. It really does. But it doesn't scare me enough yet to stop. Which is also scary. But this isn't me trying to encourage any behaviors, genuinely. I'm a massive fucking hypocrite that I would rather die than take my own advice, and I'd rather die than let anyone do what I do or feel what I feel. I just I want the best for other people, and I find that I don't necessarily extend myself the same grace. Yeah. So anyways, this has been a particularly chipper and happy video. Yeah. But that's an update as to how I'm doing, which is that I'm still going, and I'll keep going. And who knows, maybe I'll get better. I really ought to go back to therapy. I really ought to. But until then, I will keep shouting into the void of the internet. I'll keep writing in my diary with all my lovely stickers. If you're a 21 Pilots fan, I got Josh Dunn on here. And I'll keep making these videos. So, until the next one. Whoa, look at that. I can pick up the phone. I've not actually done this where I can move the phone around. It's a bit too personal for me. But until then, it was good to talk to you. It wasn't necessarily a happy conversation, but it is an honest one. So thank you for sticking around if you did. And I hope that you have a good day and that you take care of yourself. Very genuinely. I hope that you're taking care of yourself and that you're okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. All right. Bye.